Why dumb people earn more than smart people? A Swedish study found that people who are the wealthiest are not as brilliant as people who are precisely the opposite in income. Based on data from 59,000 men who were compelled to take an aptitude test as part of the military conscription process, the cognitive capacity plateauing among high-income groups was hypothesized. The relationship between income and IQ is then calculated by charting their wages over the duration of their professional careers. Hold on, isn't this fascinating? Please watch the entire video to learn how this data is truly used. An issue of great interest to behavioral scientists, sociologists, and economists alike is the correlation between income and IQ. Although it has long been known that those with higher intelligence make more money, can intelligence alone predict one's earning potential? Recent research indicates that the answer is negative. The relationship between IQ and wealth is actually not clear-cut. Although intellect is a strong predictor of wealth, researchers have discovered that this association diminishes significantly after a certain point. Put otherwise, there is a limit to the amount of intelligence that can ensure greater income. According to the analysis, the cutoff is approximately 670,000 Swedish krona, or $64,000 annually. After that, intellect doesn't appear to have much of an impact. What's perhaps more unexpected is that less brilliant people actually do better at the very highest end of the income spectrum, the 1%. Some would contend that rather than going to college, these results indicate that watching reality TV and TikTok could be better for one's career. This conclusion is not totally correct though. It is true that there are explanations for why individuals with lower IQs perform better than those with higher IQs. The fact that intelligent people are more likely to accept high-profile but low-paying employment is one of the main causes. Some of the smartest people in the planet, for example, are research scientists and academicians, but they are underpaid. Just as surgeons, lawyers, and elite bankers may require exceptionally high IQs to pass their demanding training programs and examinations, they do not always reach the 1%. On the other hand, company owners make up the majority of those in the top 1% of earners. The intelligence hurdle to owning a business is lower than that of following a very distinguished employment route. Although a small percentage of bankers, surgeons, lawyers, and top executives earn this kind of money, they do exist. Individuals who pursue lucrative career paths are less likely to become business owners because they will have already reached a point where their income is sufficient and will not want to take the big risk of quitting their lucrative job to launch an uncertain business. Conversely, people who are somewhat clever and driven by a desire for high salaries are more inclined to accept the chance because they won't be leaving behind a position that was challenging to begin with and just as challenging to return to. This proves that being reasonably intelligent and highly ambitious is the greatest way to achieve financial success. This does not, however, imply that seeking a high-profile career or going to college is not important. In addition to being a crucial component of a lucrative job, intelligence continues to be a major predictor of earning potential. It's important to remember that there are other factors at work than the relationship between IQ and wealth. One's earning potential can also be influenced by other elements like personality, motivation, social skills, and chance. Consequently, it's critical to take all of these variables into account while choosing a career. A person with average intellect who launches their own business has a statistically high probability of failing and earning less than average. At that time, individuals have the option to return to a regular work or train and launch another business. But if they are profitable, a company doesn't have to become that big before it can make enough money to place its owner in the top 1% of income. Although the chances of a highly brilliant person launching a business are significantly higher, statistically speaking, the business is still likely to fail. There will be more successful firms run by normal people than by brilliant people, since there are fewer highly intelligent people than there are people of average intellect. Recall that highly educated people who are currently employed and making good money are less likely to launch their own company in the first place. Even less likely are they to become a prosperous or unsuccessful business owner. Even though there will be a lot more average intellect business failures, the expectation that owning an average intel firm is the greatest way to get rich will shift, since only the enterprises that survive are included in the 1% of income earners. The second issue with interpreting this study, as well as every other study you hear about, is that characteristics of the wealthy go much beyond numerical data. Initially, only men were included in the study. If the other half of the population was included, the results might be drastically different, because males earn different amounts in their careers and engage in various occupations than women. Does that make sense? You know, intellect is incredibly hard to measure. Instead of emphasizing independent thought and creative intelligence, which would give a person an advantage in the boardroom, but not on the battlefield, intelligence tests intended for entry into the military are more likely to test comprehension and other cognitive abilities that would make someone effective at following commands. The study was also conducted in Sweden, and I am aware that only 0.9% of you seeing are Swedish because of the intrusive nature of Google's data collection. Because they have better welfare and labor rights than we do in the United States, personal finance and careers in Sweden are different. Additionally, they provide top employees, on average, lesser remuneration. Sweden boasts 20 companies per 1,000 individuals, compared to America's 5. This indicates that Sweden is surprisingly more entrepreneurial than the US. What does this mean then? This basically suggests that you have to be a successful business owner to make it into the top 1% where the study was conducted. However, in the majority of other places, there's a good chance you'll land one of the incredibly lucrative positions reserved for the brightest minds. The situation for college dropout hustlers is beginning to appear dire, and that's before we even take into account alternative options that can bring in a large salary. Some people are wealthy not because of their own initiative, intelligence, or hard work, but rather because they are products of nepotism and have family ties that help them secure well-paying jobs. Giving wealthy kids with connections work can be worthwhile if they continue to use their connections to attract additional business, despite how unfair it may be to someone without these advantages, since they won't need to be as intellectual as a top doctor to earn their money. Some of these privileged people, some of whom may be smart, some of whom may not be so smart, will lower the average of the percentile they fall into. Therefore, you should know that this inquiry genuinely does uncover the secret to joining the 1% before you conclude that it was all a massive waste of time. Allow me to demonstrate. There are several uncontrollable elements that can push intelligent people into the 1%. If you are born into an affluent family that can get you a nice career by pulling some favors, you don't get to choose. Similar to a tiny 100 mil, there is only so much you can do to influence whether your company is a huge success, barely breaking even, or a total bust. Much of it is simply luck. However, there is another aspect of yourself that you cannot fully control: your level of intelligence. While you can learn new things and put particular talents into practice, not everyone can assimilate and use knowledge the same way. It is impossible to mimic a trait and hope for the same result. You must be able to evaluate your skills and shortcomings objectively and select the job route that best fits your needs. Rich individuals travel first class and consume a lot of caviar, but these things won't make you wealthy. In the same way that having average IQ doesn't automatically qualify you for the 1%. Determining your strengths and weaknesses is the first step towards taking meaningful action. Admitting to yourself that you are not as intelligent as you believe yourself to be may be part of this. Being honest with yourself about your shortcomings can get you much further than pretending to be brilliant at things you're not, even though it may damage your ego. Industries with intense competition penalize underachievers just as much as they reward top performers. A medical degree ensures a good salary, but not getting into medical school means massive student loans and less opportunities for job advancement. However, it turns out that becoming a highly successful and well-regarded electrician is more profitable than becoming a mediocre or subpar lawyer. As opposed to chasing high-paying careers, which caused many to experience big layoffs in IT businesses, it's critical to be realistic about professional objectives and select a marketable field to flourish in. In summary, the correlation between IQ and money is not as clear-cut as it might appear. Although intellect has a significant role in estimating earning potential, intelligence is not a perfect predictor. When choosing a career, one should also take other aspects that may affect earning potential into account. Finding a job path that fits with one's interests, objectives, and values is ultimately what counts most. Kindly click the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell. Thanks for watching.